Hello and welcome to another Daily Muppet. I hope everybody is having a good holiday season. Happy Christmas, all of that. So we're getting all family stuff ready, so trying to keep up with putting news out, things that I have in alignment, as the last week's been pretty busy with everything that's come out in the media. So I wanted to address that. Obviously, whenever things come out, I look at, is it true? Is it not? Reach out to my contacts and ask and try to get answers and give the best course of direction that I can. So I want to talk about all the different rumors that have come out through this week and where they're at. Number one, let's first talk about Cody Gakpo. This came out from reliable for Ten Hag, Simon Mullock, that United had opened talks with PSV over Gakpo. I do understand that this to be true. The morning of or just before that was published, I put an update somewhere private in Discord as I was gathering some more details and asking more people. So there's a good chunk of people who saw this ahead of time. And what I was told at that time was that, let me just read this here. Erik has spoken with Gakpo a few times recently, believe that the terms are all but agreed with Gakpo, and understood that PSV will sell for 50 million, which is the price that I've heard all along, for 50 million or less. And they still need to cash in. They still need to make that deal. The only caveat here I have is that it has been said to Gakpo, apparently, this is what I've heard, or it's been asked of Cody Gakpo, that potentially, if he could wait till summer for United, if the money isn't approved in January. That is the only caveat that I continue to put on this. But I'm starting to think it will happen. I'm starting to think it'll get approved. I think that if they can structure a deal wherein PSV get a good chunk of money now and a good chunk of money in summer, and then the rest of it is over the next 12 months or so, then I think the deal can get done. They can spend the Ronaldo money, but they cannot spend much more due to the ongoing thing of the sale. So when you take like a 50 million fee, if they've saved 16 million, 20 million from Ronaldo, if they can pay 12 or 14 million now, and then the buyout occurs, and in summer they could pay him another 15, 20 million. That way PSV get all the money within this fiscal year, within the next 6 months. And then there's just a little bit later on, then I think a deal could get done. If PSV aren't willing to accept that, then if they get a better offer, because they still need to sell, so getting none is not better for them. If they get a better offer from someone who says, yeah, we'll pay you 50 million now, I think it would be challenging for United to match that. But then it may be down to the player saying, no, listen, I want to make this move. And I think that's what Erik is hoping for, that Cody Gakpo will push specifically for United. So there's truth to that. It's a deal that, again, I said this in some recent videos, if it were any other time, I would say for sure it's getting done. It's like basically there. It's basically all set. But because of the nature of the sale and the timing and all of that, I'm a little less convinced. But it's good to see the reports coming out, starting on that. So we'll see how it moves forward now. But I think it's going to come down to the structure of how it's paid, and if PSV do not get other offers that are better, but also if the player is saying, look, that's where I want the move, it's the same deal, different cash, take it, that's where I want to go, or I'm going to wait until summer. So that's what I've heard on Cody Gakpo. I would say I would put it at about 65-70% chance this happens now. It makes a lot of sense. Next, let's talk about Yao Felix. So there was the same day an article came out from Duncan Castles talking about how United and we're interested, so we're Arsenal, all of that. And this is an interesting one because, there's been a lot of rumor about Yao Felix. He wants to leave Atletico. Obviously, that's a big player moving from Atletico, paying 125 million. It's a bit of an odd one because I wouldn't say that Yao Felix has ever really lived up to the hype at Atletico. Not to say he's not a really good player. I think he's fantastic when I watch him at times. He's exciting. He's obviously extremely talented and an incredible talent. but he's never really fit in at Atletico or lit the world on fire there. I think his fit is challenging. It's hard to see how he would fit even at United. Not that I wouldn't take him but I wouldn't spend 100 million on him. Because his fit is somewhat unique, and I'm not sure, especially if you're looking at Gakpo, Rashford, Antony, Martial, then I think it is concerning if there's much of a fit here. So what I've been told about this is there's been some discussions with Mendes, but United would really only be looking to offer potentially a loan, and I cannot tell if it's an addition or maybe the alternative to Gakpo to getting some numbers in for the rest of the season. Some kind of conversations have occurred. They'd only be looking at a loan. Atletico would be wanting an obligation. There's probably going to be better offers out there from Arsenal, but there's also PSG hanging around, Bayern Munich, Spurs, and other clubs that are actually interested in looking at it. So it's not one that I think anything is going to happen in terms of Yao Felix. There's been, again, some minor things, but nothing that looks like it would be realistic for it to occur with Yao Felix. And then speaking of that, as it pertains, I've already talked about Gonzalo Ramos and other people who are in the striker line. Again, here's the thing that's concerning to me, and I'll talk about Jadon Sancho. Because some months ago, as I've said, it was told to me that there's a chance he could be sold. And things have not gotten better since that. He's still not back with the team. I'm not saying this to be like, if there's issues going on with Sancho, I'm not saying this to be, anything about Ten Hag. But at the same time, I am concerned about this situation. If they bring in Cody Gakpo, you look at his profile, you've got Gakpo, Rashford, Martial, who can all play off the left. If Sancho isn't viewed as a right-sided player, where's his fit in the team? If then a striker is brought in summer as well, I don't see a place for him. And I think it is quite possible that he could be a player that is sacrificed long-term and brought another striker or attacker in. I'm concerned about that, and I keep getting the impression that is something Erik Ten Hag is looking at as a possibility for the upcoming year. Obviously, it's got till summer. I personally think it would be a big mistake. I hope that's not what happens. I hope he gets back in form. But if you've got, at that point, Sancho, Rashford, Gakpo, Martial, and Antony, I don't know how you fit in a striker in there. I don't know how you fit in another player and still give minutes and have the players being happy with their game time. I mean, a player like Sancho as well, I'm concerned if he's not a player who's playing pretty regularly, that it's going to be hard for him to get into form. But obviously right now, Rashford is preferred. Martial would prefer down the middle and Antony on the right. It's already tough. Add two more players to the mix. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. So I have some concerns about that. I do wonder if perhaps Gakpo really is the number 9 signing then, and that may be where it ends up long term, which anyway, we'll see. But I'm concerned about the Sancho situation, and from what I've been told, there's reason to be concerned about it. And we'll have to see where that goes as it moves into summer. The other big one was Enzo Fernandez. There was a lot of talk about that. There was apparently is a very good source saying that United have moved ahead of Liverpool for Enzo Fernandez. Now, there's no way this can get done in January. I don't think there's any way that Enzo Fernandez can move on in January. So I have some concerns about the article because it mentions January, about the veracity of the article. The only thing I've known about Enzo Fernandez is that United have scouted him alongside quite a few players of Portugal, obviously Diogo Costa, Gonzalo Ramos, and others. And when I asked about it, essentially all I was told was, from the sources that I talked to, they don't know of any active talks beyond Gakpo. So I've asked everybody I can to see if there's anything else reliable on it. I do believe when you take that list, and we know that United are looking at a midfielder that Ten Hag is, and from I've mentioned in previous videos, from my information, I don't believe Jude Bellingham will come to United, and I don't believe Frankie de Jong wants to leave Barcelona, that nothing has changed there. Enzo Fernandez is on that list, and he would be the next up on it. Will they spend that much money? If we have new owners come summer, then I do see it as a possibility, if we have new owners come summer, which we should, then I do see it as a possibility. And I could see, the summer looking like Gakpo January, Enzo, the goalkeeper situation we've talked about with Dean Henderson being sold, David De Gea going on loan, or not going on loan, reducing his contract or leaving, Wan-Bissaka being sold and a right back or Ethan Laird brought in. That makes sense for a summer. That makes sense for the window with that midfielder. So I think he'd be next on that list. It's very expensive, but a really great player. He's not going to be more expensive than Declan Rice and is a much better fit. I said there's other names, there's options that they're looking at, and I think that's why the rumors are coming out. I mentioned in a tweet to just keep an eye on Benacer. He's likely to sign a new contract, or at least that's kind of the game being played, that they want to give him a new contract. But his agent has been talking to clubs, and some clubs are keeping an eye on the situation, including United, just keeping an eye. But I think that they're keeping an eye on different names for that center mid position, which is a priority for Ten Hag to address this summer if the money is there. And so I do think Enzo's possible. I think there's probably been some basic contact with agents and things, but that is about it. I don't think there's anything active at the moment, and won't be until a sale occurs for a big purchase like that. But I would put him on that list with Jude and Frankie de Jong, who I don't believe will be joining, so it's natural that it could turn to him. I think those are the three big midfielder-like names this summer that are going to be moving to big clubs, and United need to be getting one of them. So that's what I've got there. Otherwise, I've been told that Donny van de Beek, that Ajax are looking at Donny van de Beek. This isn't the first time I think I've said this, but Ajax are looking at Donny van de Beek. I believe he will be sold in summer. I think he's going to be one of the main departures that clears a space for the midfield, for a signing to come in the midfield. And I think Eriksen will end up rotating with Bruno if that signing does occur, and that signing will be the one who plays in that 8 position next to Casemiro and behind Bruno Fernandez next year. And so potential outs that we talked about, the Sancho situation, Donny van de Beek, obviously the free agents and all of that, and then Wan-Bissaka, obviously we know about. Those are potential outs, but I don't see anybody leaving in January. I'm still unsure about the Wan-Bissaka thing because I don't know about 2 signings in the January window, with Gakpo obviously being the major wanted player and priority, and the fact that we have Brandon Williams, have potentially recall Ethan Laird, have Wan-Bissaka, have, Malaysia, Shaw, and Dalot all for that right back and left back position. There's a lot of fullbacks at the club, so it seems less likely to me that occurs, but it's really all about the money. So anyway, I think that wraps up the news that I have with regards to transfers. Again, with regards to the club sale, I know it's quiet. Wait until the new year, wait until through the holiday season, all of that. I think some things will start coming out again, as expected, as we move into the next couple weeks. But I think that wraps that up. Covered Gakpo, covered Yao Felix, Enzo Fernandez, Sancho, Van de Beek, Benacer, all of that. So again, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have a great Christmas, great holidays, whatever you celebrate or don't over this period. I wish the best for you and your families. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. I'll see you in the next one.